So a couple days ago, I made the Persona 5 video. That video didn't do too bad, and I even got a few comments in the video saying they'd like to see the Strikers video. It was like 2 comments, but hey, 2 comments is enough for me to make a whole video dedicated to a game that I like. So here it is, the Persona 5 Strikers video. Persona 5 Strikers was released in a funny situation. Released on February 20th, 2020, it doesn't take a super genius to realize that Persona 5 Royal released first, but none of the people or things that happened in Royal are even mentioned in this game. Why could that be? Well, it's because this game was in production at the same time as Persona 5 Royal, so instead of fusing the content together, instead they just made a game off the content of vanilla Persona 5 and opted out of having any Persona 5 Royal content. And for better or for worse, that's the version of the game we got. Persona 5 Strikers also takes the idea that Persona 5 was originally going to be, and finally gives us the game that Persona 5 was originally going to be. Persona 5 was originally going to be a game where instead of staying in one area, you go around to a bunch of areas and explore. But after some real-world events being a tsunami and an earthquake in Japan, the team at Atlus just decided it would be better to leave the game in Tokyo, Japan. Now, I think that definitely ended up working in Persona 5's favor. It did definitely leave some people wondering what the game would have looked like, and it more or less would have ended up like this one. Traveling through all of Japan is the main thing in this game. You start in the same Tokyo that Persona 5 takes place in, but eventually you get an RV and you start to travel to all sorts of new areas with the gang. And honestly, I think this was super fun. Going to a new area for each new jail in this game definitely was nice. It kept the game feeling fresh and didn't leave us stuck in Tokyo again after just finishing Persona 5 that was already 100 hours long and was in Tokyo for the whole game. Gameplay-wise, this one is leagues different from Persona 5's turn-based combat. Instead, the game goes for a Warriors kind of gameplay, where there's a billion enemies and you're so strong you can just start blazing through a whole bunch all at once. Think of like a gank fight, but turned up to 1,000,000 and you're super strong. It's honestly really fun to just blaze through a bunch of enemies really fast, and you can use your Persona for a stop time effect to use a power, and even get one more as an all-out attack still. It doesn't feel like they're shoved in or being forced in a place where it's uncomfortable. It all feels natural and smooth, and overall just really fun. I think one thing about the gameplay that really stood out to me is you can play each of the characters in the game. All of the Phantom Thieves are playable characters with their own movesets and a whole bunch to learn about them. They're not just AI boss that you put on your party. You can play as them and level up their stats, and the more you play as one, they become even better, so it gives incentive to go and play all of the party members you possibly can. I got everyone's rank to the highest level when I played through this game, and there wasn't any characters I thought were inherently bad to play. There were some that were better than others, of course, but none of them were just not fun to play. That wasn't the case at all. The jails in this game were also for the most part fun. They're linear, not super crazy or anything, but that doesn't mean it wasn't fun to go through the areas and explore what there was, and just go through every nook and cranny this game's jails had to offer. There's a lot to explore and a lot to have fun with. Gameplay-wise, though, there isn't really more to talk about, so I'm just going to end that section here. I'm just going to throw this little part in right here because I didn't notice it earlier. The game released in 2020 in Japan and released in 2021 a year later for the rest of the world. Just a little slip up on my part from earlier. Character-wise, I think is where this game shines its brightest. The game has all of the characters in a situation where they actually grow. If you look at the reasons why people tend to not really like Persona spin-offs, it's because they dumb down the characters to the bare minimums and never let the characters grow in the games. Now, I haven't played the Persona Q games yet, and the only Persona spin-offs I have played as of this moment is the dancing games and Strikers. The dancing games definitely had that problem, so I wouldn't be surprised if the rest of the spin-offs did too. But before I delve deeper into the characters, I want to take a second to talk about the story in this game, because I feel like it's impossible to talk about the characters without talking about the story in this game, just because the reasons the characters grow so much is because of the story in this game. Joker finally comes back to visit all his friends after the ending of Persona 5, and now that he's back, everyone's down to clown and have a good time, and through a series of unfortunate events, they find out that the metaverse is back, this time through an AI app, and the metaverse they enter through this app contains jails where the rulers steal the desires of other people in order to basically make them mindless machines for the rulers. People like popular idols, booksellers, and more have their own jails where they hold the desires of the people. Now, I'm sure it's not a big surprise to hear that the Phantom Thief's job in this game is to steal those desires back and give them back to the people in order to let those people make their own conscious decisions for themselves. This game definitely differentiates the jails from the palaces of the previous game, in that being that the palaces never affected people directly. They had their own thing with the rulers, but they never, affected normal people who weren't a part of the rulers. But in this game, the actual people were losing their desires and becoming mindless zombies in the real world. Now, not unlike Persona 5, it's not hard to immediately realize who it is you're going to be targeting. It's another case of if they have a character portrait, they're probably the villain of this part. The characters take a little long to catch on sometimes, but it does make it pretty obvious who each villain is going to be almost immediately once you get to the next area. It's not a huge flaw, but it is one nonetheless. Now I want to go back to talking about the characters because oh my god, they fixed so much here. A big complaint a lot of people had with Persona 5 is that the Phantom Thieves didn't really do a lot to feel like a group of friends, especially in vanilla Persona 5. They do kind of fix that in Royal with some added scenes, but anyways, this game blows that out of the water. Each moment of this game just has such a good feel to it, and every bit of dialogue really helps sink in that feeling. Things like the comedy between the characters or the quiet moments that you guys are going from place to place. Even the way the characters stand up for each other in a place of need. I mean, this is the game where Ryuji finally says the F word. So there's a lot of character development in this game, and it just feels very nice to see them all be friends, and just it's so nice. It's so nice. And then there's the new spin-off characters. Any Persona fan knows that when we get a new spin-off, we get some new characters to go with it. And this game has two of them, being Sophie and another character I'm not going to say as to avoid spoilers just in case you haven't played the game yet. They're both great characters, but we're just going to focus on Sophie in this video. Sophie joins your party really early into the game, and the whole time throughout the game you're always wondering what it is that's going on with her. There's a lot of questions surrounding this AI girl who joins your party for this game. And I'm not going to spoil it, but they definitely do a good job at wrapping everything up nice and neat in a nice bow and making sure you get all the questions you had answered in this game. I really like Sophie as a character too. She's learning what it is to be human throughout the entirety of the game, and she struggles just as much as any human would. It's a really endearing story to see her growth. It's great. It's great. Overall, Persona 5 Strikers is the kind of game that if you enjoyed Persona 5 and you wanted to see more of the people in the game and want to see more growth from those characters, you're going to have a great time here. The characters definitely see more growth in this game, and it really does a good job at putting what we all needed to feel truly content with an already perfect game. I loved Persona 5 Strikers, and while the game did seem to drag a bit at times and get a little boring here and there, overall I wouldn't say I had a bad time at any given moment in this game. I absolutely recommend Persona 5 Strikers to anyone who loved the characters and story of Persona 5. And you made it. We're at the end. This is the end of the video. I'm really glad we made it. I'm not scripted here anymore. The script is gone because it's the end of the video. I'm not going to script the end. Thank you guys so much for watching. If I could ask you to please like if you liked the video and subscribe if you want to see more content like this. I have a lot of stuff on the way, a lot of stuff in the works, a lot of stuff that I want to give you guys. And a little shout out to the person who made the thumbnail for this video, Boren Warren. Go watch him if he's posting yet. I know he has plans, so keep your eye on his channel. He made the thumbnail, and I'm sure it's awesome. I haven't seen it yet because I'm still making the video right now, but I'm sure it's epic. So, go check him out. He's awesome. He's my best friend. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this video. And I'll see you guys soon, very soon, because I have more projects in the work to give y'all.